o'clock, after I've been asleep for an hour and a half, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna watch some TV, I'm gonna do some laundry, and that creates a whole nother routine. So you see what I'm saying?
Right.
We have to just learn, and it takes a little bit of, it takes somebody kind of sitting down with a person who's having issues with sleep and going one by one to figure out what's gonna crack the code,
That's
right? But a big challenge is we're so used to not getting sleep that we start to build our lives around the fact that we don't get sleep.
That's right.
And then we create new habits that don't let us get sleep. So you might have gone to bed at 8 o'clock at night when you were able to sleep. Now, you lay down for an hour and a half, you don't go to sleep. Okay, so now I'm gonna watch the Late Late Show. And then you start watching the Late Late Show every single night. And it becomes a pattern. So guess what? Now your brain is saying, I might have been sleepy and putting you to sleep, but the Late Late Show is coming on. And you do that every night. So let's get up, let's wake you up for the Late Late Show.
Exactly.
It's crazy. And then so some of those patterns and routines have to be looked at carefully and then kind of broken down. But every human being requires a certain amount of sleep, usually somewhere between 7 and 9 hours of sleep.
Right.
If not to feel rested, then at least to just allow your body to do the processes that it's supposed, that it was created and designed to do when you're asleep.
And to add to what you just said, I didn't say this, but a little side note is the bedroom is for only one thing, or excuse me, two things.
To sleep.
Sleep and intimacy. Those who are married. Sleep, and I'm saying that because a lot of people have a television set in there, so it's going to be natural. You're going to watch it. We do our bills in our room. The room, because the brain will associate now this environment as a place of stimulation. Hand on the bills, and you got bills all on the bed, and you're doing things in the room that was meant to rest. Not a TV show, and because trust me, I used to do. My mom used to do, so I followed her habit. I have to go to sleep to a TV show. That's not normal. So I just want to throw that little extra in there. So our next question: lack of sleep can cause a host of health problems, including one of the major lifestyle diseases affecting 1 in 3 Americans, diabetes. And all of this stuff is cited, all the sources of this is cited, all of this is out there. But most people just don't know by staying up late is causing that obesity and diabetes. Have mercy.
By staying up late?
Yes. Without getting too scientific about it, I'm no doctor, probably break it down a little better.
I'm about to Google it right now.
Yeah, because of all the things that are happening, all that cortisol, because cortisol causes the belly fat, and having too much fat. Well, I understand this, Doc. Too much fat. See, diabetes, especially type 2, is too much fat in the system, which causes you to be insulin resistant. And I don't know if you said it, but eating too late at night, and your body can't rest because it's overstimulated. Your body's trying to work. All of these things are causing this sleep deprivation. Watch a quick video
Live
real.
from ABC 7, this is Eyewitness News in high definition.
Millions of Americans are doing little things that sabotage their sleep, and they just don't know it.
Getting some good shut-eye could be as simple as changing a few little habits. Health specialist Denise DeDore shows us where to start. I'm all ears, Denise.
All right, we all need some sleep, don't we? Health experts believe we are a nation of insomniacs. Numerous studies show driving on little sleep is as dangerous as driving drunk. Doctors say many people's sleep problems may be because of a few bad habits that can't be fixed. For most of us, sleeping is simple, but if it's tough for you, you're not alone out there. Studies show 75% of us have sleep problems more than once a week. 47-year-old Carrie Pauley knows all about that.
When you can define your week as, I had a good week because you slept through one night out of 7, that was a little disturbing.
Morning. How are you? Good. Dr. Bruce Thomas says adults need 7 to 9 hours of rest each night. Routinely miss that mark, and you could boost chances for obesity, substance abuse, and more.
You have an increased risk for type 2 diabetes. You have an increased risk of depression,
The solution, pretty basic. First, cut out the booze before bed. While it's a sedative, alcohol prevents deep sleep, encouraging light sleep. Secondly, watch the clock. If you're not snoozing 15 minutes after hitting the sack, get back up. Stressing over sleep can prevent it.
It's like your head's packed with cotton and everything is muted.
And if you're like Carrie and want to try sleep aids, use them only as a last resort.
The longer you take them, the more dependence you develop on them, the more side effects you can have in interactions with other drugs.
Carrie boosted his vitamins and balanced his hormones, which are other natural options.
The energy level was up, and I think the first person to pick up on a more bright disposition was my wife.
More sleep, happy wife, happy life. A pretty good combo. And if you're a woman who tends to use the snooze button more than your mate, there's a reason. A new English study says women need more sleep than men, about 20 more minutes each day. But in reality, we don't get that sleep.
Right, we all need it.
I know.
Yes, thank you. All right, we switch now to breaking.
Okay. And another little tip, I'm actually going to skip this video here. Another little tip here is that I don't have any artificial lighting. The alarm clock, I don't use them. Matter of fact, you know you don't need an alarm clock. When you go to bed on time, your body naturally wakes up on time. And I don't like any artificial light, any blue, I mean, those alarm clocks, the blue light, and plus it tempts you to want to look at the time. So I just get rid of them. Okay, number 6, there are 2 types of rest that the body was made to experience, nightly and weekly. Nightly rest, so the first answer is nightly, then weekly, then nightly again. Would you write that down? Then it says, the nightly rest prepares us for the next day, while weekly rest prepares us for the week ahead. And you know what gets us to? It's the weekend, it's Friday, Saturday night, I'm gonna stay up and we're gonna watch our favorite movies. You know that your sleep has to be the same 7 days a week? Because you know we do the Friday night movies and the Saturday night and the hangout, then on Monday your body's trying to get back to a rhythm again. So we stay in this constant habit of trying to get back, your body's trying to get back in order. Yeah, so it's just, and I know that may seem like, that's just so hard. I used to think the same thing. I'm like, no, I gotta sit watch my favorite movie, go to bed. I'm like, if I didn't get to watch it by 8 or 9 o'clock, I'm going to bed. You know, and I'm just sharing what I've had to do because I struggle with sleep.
But I sleep better in the weekends than
Do you?
during the week.
Okay. And guess what? Your time you go to bed and the time you wake up should be as close as every night. It should be a rhythm. Because we're creatures of habit. Your brain, like you said, it needs a pattern. It needs a pattern. It can't 9 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 10. Your body's all over the place. Like, well, let's pick one.
And then I think also when people have difficulty going to sleep, they sort of want to let their bodies lead the way. So I'm just going to stay up until I'm sleepy and then go to bed. So it might be different each night. And it sounds like a good idea, but it takes away from the routine and also the ritual of going to bed. So it's bedtime. That means I'm going to take off my clothes, I'm going to take a shower, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to, have a routine, a ritual so that you can be preparing yourself for bed. But if you kind of fall asleep on the couch, different show, wake up, you're not really helping the situation. You have to be proactive. If you're not getting good sleep, you have to work to make it happen and establish the right habits to kind of, once you respect the fact that your body really does need the sleep, then you kind of have to work toward it systematically by addressing the stuff that we've talked about.
And everything that what me and Doc are saying, I know it sounds like a really huge challenge because we are in a technological age. The kids they want to watch their favorite shows, and so the home life is just very stimulated. But for you individuals, you'd have to say, you know what, I'm going to lead the way. Because I've noticed when I start doing something, people in the household start kind of following suit a little bit. It may not happen overnight, but little by little, people are like, okay, mama's going to bed. She ain't sitting watching TV with us. So it may not happen, but I will just say this much, because I'm not here to tell you what to do. We're just giving you information that will hopefully help you. Because I hope you're really getting, this is ringing like just how important this really is. This is not a joke. We want to make sure you guys are well. We're not here just to entertain you. We want to see you well. Number 7, the daily rhythm is circadian And the weekly, now this word I didn't know until I started studying this, circaseptan. So circadian is the daily, circaseptum is the weekly.
You know, it's funny, they say that if you put a person in a room with no light, no external cues, no noise, no light, you can keep track of a day and you can keep track of a week. Because we're kind of programmed, our bodies can tell a week and a day. We were just designed that way.
Okay, that's a good point. Oh, I will throw this in here. It is medically shown, you said you sleep better on the weekends. Do you know that your heart rate slows down on the 7th day of the week? Do you know that?
No.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. It slows down. I wish I had the stat on here, but when I heard that, I heard it from a doctor years ago. And then now when I started teaching this, it came up again. Okay, now number 8, the most ideal time to get refreshing rest is between, here it is, 9 and 5 p.m. Because like I said, every hour prior to midnight gives you double the hours of sleep after midnight. And I did it one time. I went to bed at like night 10-ish, and I woke around 4. I'm like, oh, it's still early in the morning. I'm like, no, actually, I got 8 hours of sleep. So really being up at 4 wasn't weird. It's just that I went to bed earlier than I normally go to bed. So 9 p.m., 5 a.m. Okay, number 9, the National Sleep Foundation suggests that adults should sleep 10 to 11 hours. Is that a true or false? Now, we saw it in that video,
False.
remember? Is that false? What is it?
7 to 9.
There you go. You was listening. 7 to 9. And Doc said,
I wrote it.
oh, hey, you a note taker. That's right. We like note takers. That's right. Check up on us. Okay, I think we got number 10. The study of 7-day cycles in the building blocks of plants and animals. Life is called, now this wasn't in the notes, but it's just chronobiology. It's just another little fact. Chronobiology. I mean, we could go on for another good hour just talking about different things about sleep, but hopefully this information is giving you, I think we got another video here. Yep, we do.
Good morning. In today's Health Watch, sleep and your memory. It turns out the amount and quality of sleep you get at night may affect your memory later in life. A new study tested sleep patterns of people between the ages of 45 and 80 who did not have any memory problems. Those who slept less than 6.5 hours or had tiny awakenings throughout the night were more likely to develop plaque in their brains. The plaque is a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease and usually shows up years before memory loss begins. Although it's too soon to be sure, researchers think lack of sleep could be a risk factor for Alzheimer's, and improving sleep could prevent or slow the illness. Other studies have found sleep is important for memory throughout our lives, especially in childhood. Sleep-deprived kids have shorter attention spans and don't learn as efficiently, and sleep plays a role in turning short-term memories into long-term ones, and that's essential for learning new information. Ultimately, the research is just more evidence of how important sleep is to our physical and mental health, and another reminder to try to get enough shut-eye every night. I'm Dr. Holly Phillips.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get through this. We're running a little behind time here. Okay, so number 11, because of the circadian rhythm and the spike of the immune system, colds usually don't last for more than 1 week.
That's true.
I believe that is true. Let's move on because I know I'm going to skip that video because of our time. It's just talking about the same thing. It's so anyway, were there any questions, any thoughts? Because I gave you a lot of information. I gave you a lot to think about. A lot to think about. Any concerns? Any things like, you know what, I really want to work on that? You know, if not, because I want to give. Shirley, are you back there? Okay. I don't know if you had any thoughts too that you want to share. Some things that you wanted to talk about. If not, or if you had any other extra thoughts, because I wanted to give you some time in here too.
No, I think that's good for this week.
Yeah, I know. This one was really a good one. I wish I could spend more time. But any thoughts before we go to our demo? Any other final thoughts, Doc?
No, I just to re-emphasize the fact that, you know, in medicine, we're good at making diagnoses. Oh, you've got this immune system problem. Oh, you're diabetes, you crossed the line. You're not pre-diabetic, you're diabetic. Oh, you've got heart disease. Oh, you've got Alzheimer's. We can figure it out after the fact, right? But I don't want you to figure out what's wrong with the after fact. I'd like for you to help me not get the problem. How about that?
Yeah.
Because fixing the problem is always harder than dealing with it once you have it. And I'm just gonna say God has made it certain things basic. Drink your water, get your rest, eat real food. I mean, we're going through those things, manage the stress. But sleep is one of those things that, again, it's just fundamental. It's fundamental. And so just respect the fact that as a human being, you need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now start to kind of look at, okay, what time do I go to bed? Because even I'm guilty sometimes. I have my alarm on my phone that tells me go to bed now if you want to get 7 hours or 9 hours between now and 6 o'clock when you wake up or 5:30 when you wake up. And you just have to respect the fact that you just need to do the right thing, at least so that you can feel better and do better. So.
Okay. So thank you. And you can go ahead. I'll pause it. So last thought is that before we bring the food out to you, the best part of the night is that the food? No. Is that I said at the very beginning, don't try to, if you're going to bed at 12 o'clock, don't try to go to bed at 10 o'clock tonight. Try to say, I'm just going to work my way backwards. Because your body can better deal with that kind of change. Go to bed at 11:45, 11:30 and find ways to get the screen time down, minimize it. I didn't say it all the way, just minimize it. So you know what, I'm not going to read my emails and my texts and, I'm going to watch maybe because we're in a binge time now where we have our favorite shows on Netflix. You can watch 10 shows in a night. So you know what, I'm just going to watch 1 show or 2 shows instead of 5 shows. Because I've done this. I'm talking about what I've done. Oh man, my favorite series. Just say, you know what, I'm going to watch just a little less each night. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go into our food demo. Did you need any help with describing it, or you want to go ahead and do the whole thing? Or did you want to, or do you want me to do it? You do it. Okay, I forget. Okay, as we've been trying to do each week, introducing you guys to something, just, to transition. I like to use the word transition because the very first week we talked about paradigm shift, changing the way you see things and things you've been doing. And we're trying to keep the recipes very simple, 15 minutes or less. And this week we're on breakfast week. So Edna made the food, but I did the narration. But we brought you, I don't know if you know what tofu is. Tofu, it's a great protein. We made scrambled tofu, which is a good way to replace scrambled eggs. It's no cholesterol, it's high in protein, and it's delicious. A lot of people had a lot of I've heard protein, or I've heard tofu is not that great. The way we make it is awesome. And we added some oven roasted red potatoes with peppers and onions. It's a great breakfast. It's easy. So as we bring it in, the recipe will be on the video that we created. But it's very simple. It's just cutting up some red. I'll just go ahead and describe it. Just to make it easy while they're putting it together. The potatoes, just dice up your red potatoes with the skins on it. Why do we leave the skins on it?
It's the fiber.
Did you say it? Fiber. Because a lot of times we'll strip away a lot of the fiber from our fruits and vegetables. Skins are very important. And it's delicious. I like the skins. So we got that with red peppers, orange peppers, yellow peppers, and onions and garlic. Oh, it's delicious. Delicious. Yes, ma'am. Oh no, go ahead.
What are you cooking it in?
And did we use coconut oil? No, we use olive oil for the potatoes, just a little bit, and we use, I think, coconut oil to cook the tofu in.
But just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like the onion and the garlic.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's also got some coffee. You'd like to try that?
Healthy. Everything we do is
Y'all ever
healthy.
tried stevia?
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I use it all the time.
Do you use the packets or?
The liquid.
You have some of the liquid stevia, yeah.
Well, we have some powder if you want to try it with the coffee too.
Yeah.
Miss Sarah and Miss Bridges, I need you in the back for a minute.
All right. So I have a question. Why do people tell you carbs are bad for you, but we got potatoes?
No.
No,
You got
they're good for you.
no. Just say it.
They're
The distinction between carbs.
Okay, I have
You see where I'm going? Because everywhere you go, it's like,
Right.
watch your carb, low carb, this, low carb. But why?
Simple carbs, complex carbs. See, people just use the words generically carbs, but go ahead, please.
Well, and to add to that, a lot of people are doing like the keto diet and the low carb diet, because then it becomes bad because they can't have carbs because it stops their weight loss. The sad part is that weight, if they lose any, will come right back on because they're going to go back to eating carbs. I have my own testimony for the last month. I went keto for 2 weeks.
Did you?
Yeah, I started having chest pain.
Huh, really?
Yes, I did. And I said, okay, God, I know what I need to do.
Okay.
And the God, our God,
It's okay.
actually showed me a video and inspired me to go back to the vegan diet, low fat, and I've already lost 4 pounds. I didn't lose barely 2 on the keto diet. Barely. It just wasn't wanting to work at all. And I was on it at least 2 weeks. But when I started having chest pain, I said, I know what I need to do.
I was just wondering why people ask you to tell you that. And I was
Okay.
like,
Oh, no, go ahead, please,
Food is
please.
potatoes now.
Okay.
I would,
There are only 3 what we call macronutrients, right? Every food is made of basically 3 things: fats, carbohydrates, or proteins, right? And we're supposed to eat those things in a proper balance, okay? And so there is this trend toward this high protein diet that can kind of turn your body into a different way of burning fuel. It's a little trick that people use to lose weight. But you can't do that long term because our bodies were designed to have a balance. Now, like they were saying, there's good fats, there's good proteins, and there's good carbs. I mean, and there's bad of each of those too. So the good carbohydrates that are out there are going to be those ones that are whole carbohydrates. They're eaten as the way they were designed. So they're whole grains if they're grains. You see what I'm saying? Or and the way your body responds to those is different than the way they respond to simple carbs like straight white sugar, cotton candy, you know, straight sweets and sugars. So that's just, you have to be careful when you're getting your advice from the industries that are trying to do tricks on you. You see what I'm saying? So when they're trying to get you to lose weight or they're trying to do all these little trends and fads, then all of a sudden they're making things that are really not bad for you. Now, a sweet potato is going to be better for you than a straight white potato, okay? But a potato with the skins has a little bit more fiber connected to it. So, you know, depending on what you're trying to accomplish with your diet, there are going to be choices that you make about some foods that are better than other foods. But to say that all carbs are bad doesn't really make sense. You see what I'm saying? Because we otherwise you're eating all fats. How could that be good for you? And all protein, you know, and then most people are leaning toward animal protein instead of plant-based proteins. So what these trends, we have to be careful with these trends because they can kind of trick us into thinking that things are true when they're not really true.
And why do we need carbohydrates, Doc? I mean, the ones, because we
Fuel?
need, exactly, we need it for fuel.
Right.
Yeah.
so in the grocery store, where do you find tofu, tofu, whatever you call it?
In the produce section.
And where do
The produce, you know, like where you see like all the bag salads
okay,
and
I'm
all
going to
that.
see it, but I can remember where I saw it at. So in the produce
Yeah,
section. Okay.
yeah.
Now, it comes in a block in water. Don't just pick up a piece of that and eat it. Not that it's going to be nasty or horrible, but because you're not used to the taste, it's going to be like picking up an egg white and eating it. Doesn't taste like much of anything. It's just bland and plain. But what they've done is sauteed this and seasoned it very well. Then it just ends up being the base. So I mean, this is very well seasoned. So
Do you have the recipe in?
No, I just described it.
Oh, okay.
I had some tofu this morning. Now I don't like to mash my tofu. You mash yours. Mashing is good because then the seasoning is all in there. And what I like to do so that I can get more of a crunch, a bite to it, is I like to dice it. So I have it in little cubes, and I'll just saute that in a nonstick pan, and so it gets a little bit more crunchy on the outside. The other thing is there's a lot of water content to tofu, and so if you let it cook a little bit longer, it'll get a little bit less wet and a little bit more chewy consistency. And so you kind of have to play with it a little bit. But you know, you can get to the point where you can just take a piece of tofu out of eat it from the block and just put some soy sauce on it and just eat it.
I guess I didn't know that for you.
Yeah, I
People
mean,
do that, yeah.
you know, you just get used to it,
Okay.
but this is well seasoned.
Yeah,
it
well
really
seasoned,
is. I mean,
yeah.
this first time I ever had it too.
Yeah.
It tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you would never know. You know, there's not eggs, but you wouldn't know that it was this. Like when you made the tofu,
It's
the tofu bars at your home there, where one person like, this isn't fish. All you did was just cut it in slices and batter it in the Zatarain's fish batter. I'm like, wait a minute, is this pollock? Is this
What was it?
Yeah, we have it done.
tofu?
Tofu. So okay.
Was that?
I took the tofu, cut it in squares about this size.
That's what. Oh,
You maybe cut it about this thick.
yeah.
And it's wet.
Right.
So I took the regular Zatarain's or
Whatever fish seasoning.
Louisiana, whatever fish style seasoning,
Okay,
fish fry seasoning. Press it on one side, press it on the other so it's well coated.
Okay.
And then I would just fry it.
And you like
And the coating sticks to it.
the
And the
same fish?
inside is just bland. I mean, fish really doesn't have it's not a strong flavor to it. It has a little fishy flavor to it, but it's really the best. Like if you ever had whiting, you know, or it's just the crunch and the seasoning of the coating that's the main
Yeah.
attraction.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, and I like to make mine where I cut in the blocks and, you know, to the chicken I used to eat, I just deep fry it with some cornstarch and some cornmeal or whatever, or some panko crumbs, and make my own tofu nuggets like I would chicken nuggets. Dip it in some barbecue sauce. I mean, if you went on the line and said tofu recipes, you'd find hundreds of ways. I love Chinese food. Oh my goodness. Oh, I cut them in little cubes, put in some soy sauce and sweet and sour sauce, whatever sauce I used to get in the restaurant. Oh my goodness, with some rice and some stir fried veggies that you got. So you could do anything because tofu really doesn't have much of a taste. Like she said, you make it taste like what you want it to taste like. So like I said, so you wouldn't even know that wasn't scrambled eggs. Now you know it isn't eggs, but what is it?
Yeah, but your mind is going, it tastes like eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
It really does. I mean, you're thinking.
And that's just one way to season. I use red peppers and onions, and she puts all the garlic. And yeah, this is tofu.
Yeah.
Soybean curd. That's all that is. I'll sprinkle like spinach leaves on, let it kind of melt in. I use like spinach
You
omelets.
never give me ideas when I go to the store.
Yeah.
So what is that? I was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so you can do all kinds of things. But we made a very simple, filling, protein-packed, healthy diet.
It ain't changed.
So and get your healthy coffee though with that. So we're just, like I said, we're giving you healthy
There's almond
alternatives.
Oh, coconut creamer, which one?
What is it?
Almond?
Almond milk
Almond
or
milk.
coconut cream?
Coconut.
Ooh, I don't know. Almond, just do almond.
Hey.
I like coconut too, but we'll try almond.
Okay.
So these are just healthier ways to eat your favorite dishes. That's all we're doing.
Thank you. Finish drinking it and we'll
It's not. There's no caffeine in it.
No, there's no caffeine in it. It's like drinking juice or water.
I have mercy now.
This we enough with this.
Okay.
So we hope that over the weeks that, and we still have time to go, we're going to be sharing more and more, and even getting a little more complex as time moves on. But hopefully you're enjoying what we've just been sharing with you. You may not like everything, but we're just showing you how easy it is to take something you're used to, because I'll give you an example. You can eat something that you've been eating and just, like, for instance, you like, I love spaghetti, I like pasta. So I started eating the meat sauce, and I would just get a vegetarian sauce with just marinara and put some chunk vegetables in it, and make it kind of get that bulky, meaty taste. There's a lot of, or if you want to go buy the vegetable crumbles that are made from soy protein in the frozen section. They give it that, and people eat about, like, there's some good meat spaghetti. I'm like, that ain't no meat. That's just vegetable protein, soy
I actually
protein.
bought some that we was talking about the ground crumbles.
Yeah.
So I made myself
Okay.
a taco salad.
We made it.
You can tell the
Was it
difference.
okay?
Oh, wow.
You couldn't tell the
You can
difference?
tell the difference.
because
It's just a little bit.
Just a
You
little bit.
season it. You know,
Right.
it's
You can work with it.
It's texture, just
yeah,
like
they got meat texture.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's all in the seasonings. I tell
I tried to
you.
get my husband to taste it. He was like, "Nah, that's okay." I was like, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it."
That's why you can't tell him. Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
But he saw me.
Put that on pause. Is it still screen storm?